I'd like to share with you a little bit of what happened with my husband and I when we took part in our first Gateway and how we got there. I read Bob's books in 1979 when I was in high school and thought to myself, someday I'll go there. And then in 2007, I was privileged to take an outreach class in Calgary, and we had so many amazing things that happened during that weekend. I went home and spoke with my husband about going to the Monroe Institute, and we booked our Gateway experience in August of 2008. We flew into Washington, D.C. and had a few days and went to look at the Smithsonian because neither of us had ever been in that part of the world before, and marveled at how three men could stay in a space capsule that tiny for that long. And then when we were making our way to the Monroe Institute, we drove through some beautiful areas. The trees were meeting overhead on some of the roads, and it was almost magical, the trip to Monroe. Then we got to Monroe and got checked into our room and experienced the 6 days of meditations and experiences with the other participants, and it was amazing. And one of the leaders of the group had suggested to us that instead of driving back to Washington, we make a reservation at the nearby bed and breakfast, and I'm so grateful to her for that suggestion, because when we were finished after our 6 days at Gateway, we went out to the car, and my beautiful left brain engineering husband turned and looked at me and said, "Hun, I've forgotten how to start the car." And it took us about 15 or 20 minutes to take a 3-minute drive up to the bed and breakfast near the Monroe Institute. And I was so grateful that we had that additional day, because once we got to Washington, we were planning on touring Georgetown. But again, my husband was so open and so expanded. He was feeling everything that was happening. And we, basically just stayed in the hotel room. I would go out and get meals and things because I've more or less been empathic since I was born, so I was used to feeling that way, but he most certainly wasn't. And the other part of our journey was I had these expectations of having this out-of-body experience and really felt disappointed in myself because I felt like I'd slept through the whole week. But I was doing a healing modality called Psyche, and when we got home, after 3 or 4 clients, it became apparent to me that a lot more had happened to me at Gateway. My psychic gifts had opened, and I was now getting information from my clients on a very nonverbal level, and that was very surprising, and that gift has just expanded and expanded since 2008. I've been back to Monroe, of course, to take many, many programs. Loved every single one of them, and I can't recommend this work highly enough. In fact, I love teaching this work. I went and got my teacher training in 2009 and have been training the outreach program myself since 2010.